Joe Rogan experience with the whole monkey
Just
thing.
bite the whole thing off of it.
Joe Rogan all day, all night, all day.
You know where that's from?
No. Oh, well, UFC, obviously.
Yeah, that guy apparently at the end of one of the matches, he's like, Joe Rogan all day, all night, whatever. And then that's a soundbite.
It's
like one of the
his
interviews.
voice.
No, that's what I thought too. It was one of the UFC fighters. He says it like at the end of a match or whatever, and then they just like clipped it. Pretty interesting. What do you think about that, pal?
All right, yeah. Yeah, fucking.
The fuck is the name of this show?
The estupid Neema experience.
It's the estupid Neema.
The stupid Neema experience.
All right.
The stupid Neema experience. Wow, man. Yeah, that's really cool, man.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, man. So this is it. The stupid Neema experience. It's gonna be called just a stupid Neema, to be honest. I don't know. It could be a working title, to be honest, but as far as I know, it's a stupid Neema. So this is it. It's a fun podcast, me talking with one guest every week, every whatever. And that's it. We're just going to have a good time, good chat. First guest today, actually, is a very special person in my life, and he's a part of the Stupid Group, Inc., and we're here in Melbourne, Australia together.
Melbourne.
Melbourne? And that's it. It's my brother, Omid Nazeri.
That camera? What's up, fam? You're blessed?
Let's go. That's it, baby. I feel like we're back in the we're back in the straight and curly days.
You're gonna have to tell people what that is.
Man, we did straight and curly 3 years ago, pretty much. It was middle of the pandemic when like everyone was doing podcasts and starting shit, and we were like, "Yo, let's fucking let's start a podcast." Me and you talking together, and like we were trying to think of names, and we're like, "Okay, well, I'm the funny person that, like, you know, outwardly I always, you know, my job is to be a comedian, and he's the more introspective, deep thinker, logical thinker, fucking, you know, just great, intelligent mind. But we're like, it needs to be a little more simple. So how about we go based off of our hairstyles? And we went with straight. Was that straight hair? You see that shit? And he's got curly hair. And we're like straight and curly. I honestly still think we should still bring it back one day, because I think it's a great concept for either, whether it's a podcast or a TV show or something. I don't know. I feel like straight and curly is a great name, and it is actually like a great embodiment of who we are. You know, it's because because the other thing I forgot to mention too is straight. Straight. It's not even about, because I always made that joke too. It's like straight and curly doesn't have to do with our sexuality, but straight means, like, you know, it could be like, you know, a straight conversation or a straight way of thinking, or curly, where it's like it could go either way. You know, it's like what's it called, like a metaphor, or what would you call it? You know what I'm saying?
Like it's like what the conversation.
Like it's not black and white. Like straight and curly is like,
yeah, it's like gray.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like curly conversation, like fucking, it's a metaphor for where a conversation can go.
Yeah, it flows anywhere.
Flows,
it's like
right?
Water.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, metaphor is the right term, right?
Probably.
Euphemism, I don't know, some shit like that.
One of those fun words. One of the words that none of us know.
None of us know, yeah. But anyway, but yeah, we're here in Melbourne, Australia. We just fucking moved here, so yeah, man, I'm pretty excited to do this because we've been talking about doing this for a while, and I feel very like excited to have my own comedy podcast, because fucking everyone and their moms are doing a comedy podcast.
The only issue with doing a comedy, you doing one, is that you're not funny. You have to be like baseline level of funny.
Yeah, at the very least.
This should be the clown podcast.
Yeah, chill out.
Yeah, you fucking chill out.
No, man. I mean, I don't know.
You know what? I will say, comedy podcasts are something I didn't originally anticipate, like, getting more into, as like, so for people who don't know, I love podcasts.
Yeah, he's a fucking podcast king, this guy, bro.
I love consuming them, and I've been working through my own fucking fears and inadequacies to also launch my own show, which I will soon. More on that later.
We're gonna name it.
It's called Rule Omega.
Oh, fuck.
And so, being somebody who like listens to such a wide variety of shows, I didn't originally anticipate like listening to comedy podcasts, and I don't know why. I guess I just like wrote it off in a sense because I'm like, well, I'm always around comedy, like being like, this is what we do. For those of you who don't know, like I'm his manager and also his older brother. Not in that order,
right.
But anyways,
manager first, brother second.
Yeah, brother second. Yeah, friend last. I don't know, just being like, okay, well, I'm always around comedy. Like from the work we do, the shows we go to, I watch a lot of comedy, like stand up and comedy videos, and like the movies I watch are always exclusively comedy. And I was like, bro, I'm not gonna watch comedy podcasts, but it is kind of fun to just because you know, I would say that I think the reason stand up comedy as a whole, at least from my experience, is how would you say, like it kind of encaptures you and like encapsulates your attention because you eventually like trust the person on stage with the microphone and you just let them sort of take you on this journey. And I guess like that's what a good speaker does as well. Yeah. They do the thinking for you. And comedy, it's fun because you get to go through that person's thinking. Yeah. And it's not always like, it's not like watching stand up where it's like just pure jokes. It's also deep. Yeah, there is deep moments, and like they talk about things that are difficult and like the lonely road of an entrepreneur or like a comedian or whatever. And I would say that, you know, I've enjoyed Theo Vaughn's podcast, obviously Joe Rogan. Like, even though I don't first think of him as a comedian, I think of him as like UFC.
You fucking bigot.
I don't know. When I think of Rogan, I usually think of like podcaster, UFC, and then comedian.
Right. That's most people though. It's crazy. Most people, that's crazy. Most people see him more as a podcaster than a comedian. That's
wild.
Actually, yeah,
that's wild.
Wild. Yeah. No, but seriously, because well, obviously his podcast is bigger than anything else he does. Right? Like, to take that in, like most people, I knew he was a comedian before all this. Like, even Fear Factor days. Like, after I saw him on Fear Factor, I was like, oh, true, he's actually a comedian, and then whatever. But most people see him as a podcaster first, and then UFC commentator, and then comedian. That's not wild. Like, seriously, that's fucking...
Well, it's wild. It's wild when you contrast the fact that when he does stand-up comedy, he sells out arenas. Yeah. That's like any other stand-up comic that sells out an arena, you would know of them because of that reason.
Right, yeah.
But Rogan has the fucking
Rogan Josh?
most... Yeah, we have this running joke calling him Rogan Josh. Yeah. He has the most listened to podcast on earth, like by a long shot.
I think it's not even close.
It's not even close. I think the last time I heard of a statistic, and like, don't quote me on this, but it was like 200+ million downloads just on Spotify.
That's wild.
That's wild.
That is wild, man. Fucking wild.
Yeah, he's great.
Well, you know what's funny? Because we were talking about the stat yesterday about you said fucking 50% of girls think it's a red flag if you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast or some shit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that fucking like? Well, that's wild.
There was like a survey, so I don't know if it was like a study. It was like, you know, some like observational, like somebody asked like 10, 100, I don't know, 1,000 people. And yeah, like something like 55 or something % of girls under the age of like 30, I think, were like, it's a red flag. And then what's crazy is there's like 20 some odd % of guys who say that too.
Fucking
like, what the fuck is wrong with these?
Gay.
Like, that's so fucking gay, man. I don't know.
So dumb.
I don't understand.
It's like, how could you just write someone off just from listening to something or watching something that you don't agree with? Like, you're that fucking black and white where you're just dismissing someone because they listen to something or watch something that you dismiss, like that you're not interested in. It's like, bro, have some nuance. The world isn't black and white. Like, there's so much shit most people that in your family don't like about you, but like, doesn't mean you're a fucking bad person.
Well,
right?
Speaking of family, like, there are immediate members of my family, like not you or my parents, but I guess like first or whatever, where upon talking about Joe Rogan's podcast, the first, and this is not just them, I've heard other people say this too. They're like, yeah, but he only gets people on who agree with him, or like, he's such an idiot,
not true.
Or whatever. And I'm like,
it's not true.
I'm just like, okay. My first question always to people who are so quick to dismiss things is, okay, which episode didn't you like?
Yeah, right.
Of course. First thing they say, well, I haven't like fully like listened. I was like, okay, so which reminds me of this great piece of advice that I can't remember who gave, but it's just good, solid advice that any person probably could have given, which is if the first time you hear about somebody, the thing that you hear about them is like a negative thing, probably don't trust that. Oh, like it happens all the time in the news, right? Oh, this person in charge of whatever department of the government, or this person who's an artist you've never heard of said this. They're a racist. They're a bigot. And then, okay, now I hate this person. It's like now you fucking write this person off because of one opinion from somebody you don't even know, like a news outlet or like another creator or somebody on the internet. So people that my own family who share some version of some amount of my blood or DNA are like, yeah, but he only gets on people that agree with him, and he's a far-right grifter. That's another great one.
Grifter?
Yeah, drifter, grifter. I don't know. It's like
is that?
These people who are just like, you know, on the fringe. Like they're on the
off the rocker.
Yeah, they're off the rocker. They're like they're on the extreme fucking whatever.
That's so crazy.
Like that's crazy. Like to your point, like have a little fucking nuance, man. Like
amateurs, complete amateurs. Well, what do you think? What do you think about like, because you see me for a while now, I guess, because I wanted to ask so people can understand the context too. Like how do you feel about like seeing my comedy from the beginning when I first started to now? Like always want to ask, because like we never really talked about this. Like I feel like, well, you weren't really around in the first few years, really. Because, you know, you had your own life and everything like that. And, like, I was still, you know, green and I was doing my own thing, obviously figuring it out. But from the outside, I'm curious to know, like, do you see me differently because since you started working with me? Or it's like, did you ever see yourself even coming close to what we're doing now? You know what I'm saying? When I first started doing comedy.
So I think there's like two questions there.
Yeah, whatever.
So one, I would say, so what do I think of the comedy now or like in general?
Yeah, in general. Like, I don't know. Like at first, like when I first started to like now, do you see a big difference? Do you like it more? Or do you, whatever, like what are your
yeah, so I would say like at first I was like, okay, my younger brother is trying out this new thing. So new. It's like, and that this is almost like general, because anytime I hear or see a friend of mine or someone close to me like trying something new, it's always like, okay, like, you know, you're trying it out. Like, I'm not sure what to make of you because you're not even sure that this is really. It's like me going to culinary school. It's like, I don't know. I'm just going to try it. I'm seeing if I like it. It's like seeing if it fits. And so the comedy itself at the beginning, I wasn't a big fan of. It sounds worse than it is. It's not like a shitting on you thing.
Yeah.
But that's because the beginning, it was still a lot of you figuring out like your voice, figuring out like what kind of content, like what kind of stuff am I going to be joking about or like observing or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
First rule of podcasts: turn off your phone.
Fucking Mark, bro.
You got to answer
Mark
on the.
You
got to answer it live on the podcast.
Fucking guy, bro. Oh, now he fucking hung up.
What a loser.
All right. Well, anyway, I'm just gonna call him back. Oh, he's already picked up. Hello. Hey, first ever call-in guest to the Stupid Neema podcast.
We're recording here. Yeah, you're live on the airwaves, fam. So cool. Show your face, you coward. Sick, man.
You fucking amateur. We're doing a podcast right now, man. You have any words of advice for the Stupid Neema podcast?
Listen, guys, just keep going. Just make, in the words of Gary Vayner, just keep putting them out, pal.
Just fucking make?
Just fucking make, my man.
Make, my man. Buddy, you know what? This would actually be perfect for the podcast. Guess who came to the show tonight?
Here we go.
Who came to the show?
Old-time short and curly podcast listener, Adomas Gribas.
No. No way. What? How fitting is that? Adomas Gribas? The goat? The Lithuanian
The
goat?
Lithuanian thunder.
No.
The lightning from down under.
Are you serious?
I swear to God, bro. Like, we were taking pictures with people, and then out of nowhere, all I hear is, "Mark, I'll see you later. Good set." And I was like,
No way. That's the Lithuanian goat, bro.
I know he's listening to this episode.
Yeah, he's
also.
listening to this right now.
I'm
for
waiting
sure.
for an invite to your wedding.
Exactly.
Bro, what are the chances of that?
Adomis,
Yo.
listen to me right now. If Mark is on live on the air right now, you better invite all three of us and his baby to your wedding, or you're never coming on this show again.
Yo, that's great, man. Shout out to Adomas Gribus. If you're watching this, he's an OG Straight and Curly listener.
True.
Like we mentioned earlier in the podcast, literally 10 minutes ago.
Right.
So shout out to Adomas. And Mark, I'm going to have to call you back because I'm in the middle of a fucking recording right now.
Okay, real quick, I just want to do an impression of one of our friends. Not sure if he'll know, but I just want to know if you want to shoot something.
What?
I think he's having an aneurysm.
I can't get.
Okay, Mark Anthony. We talk later.
Okay. Bye. Okay.
Mark Anthony, large, Jumbo.
Jumbo.
Something.
That's hilarious, dude.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, bye. Okay, see you later. Okay, bye. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, bye. I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, bye.
What are the fucking chances?
Wow. What are the chances of that, literally? Like, that can't be any more fitting for the podcast. This is how stupid it gets.
Jumbo.
Both.
Yep.
Wow, that's
Fuck.
crazy, eh?
That's a perfect segue into how I feel about your comedy now. Well,
Yeah.
I guess I'll finish the thought from before. Like, so I was saying, your comedy before was still like
Amateur.
Yeah, I mean, it was amateur by definition, not because I
Yeah.
didn't think it didn't have. It was amateur just because you were still in the process. Process. Not because I didn't think there was like the raw material like should be funny, but it was very like in Farsi we have this word called mehmuni, which is like a family party with family friends, like a gathering, which is like I guess like dinner with friends, what the white people would call it.
White people.
And so there was a lot of like getting up in front of the group of people and like sort of imitating and impersonating, and obviously that has now evolved to the point of like shape-shifting and taking on like famous people's characteristics or cultural characteristics and sort of drawing those out and like very I like to think it's Russell Peters-esque, and that's really a shout out to him because he's the fucking goat. He trailblazed the way for all you guys. Anyway, so now in large part due to just like you've put out so many pieces of content, you've told so many jokes. You're now yeah, seriously. And now you're onto the second special that you're like working the set on. You've had to naturally, and with the help of honestly a little bit of myself, but other people that have been on our team or are on our team now, to evolve like, okay, like let's go from impressions to impersonations to like telling stories about other people's cultures or other people's mannerisms and observations that I think you correctly identify as a skill set, one of the skill sets of your comedy. What was the second part of it?
About like if since you started working with me, how has your perspective changed on all this stuff? Like, and did you ever see yourself even working together?
Yeah, I've learned a lot about things that have nothing to do with comedy in this process. To answer the second part of that, I didn't see myself doing this, and that doesn't at all mean that I'm not happy or see myself doing this now. The thing that I've learned along the way is more about people and humanness and sort of like how difficult it is to be an entrepreneur, a creator, a performer, an artist, how process takes time. I've learned about how things are this, like, even from a business, like entrepreneurial standpoint, and I've been an entrepreneur exclusively my entire life. It's just another reminder that things go up and down, man. Things take time. Things go non-linearly. Like sometimes you progress really fast, whether it's following, whether it's attention, ticket sales, quality of the joke, whatever. Things go up, down. And I've really, because I'm sort of impatient by, I don't know if it's by nature, but like that's just who I've been for a long time. Watching the process, being a part of the process, trying to course correct, trying to learn from things, constantly auditing, like, well, what was good about that? What did we learn about that? Has really, quite frankly, forced me to be like, all right, man, like, as cliche, I hate that it's a fucking cliche, but like Rome wasn't built in a day. Taking a fucking deep breath and being like, all right, man, like this is a long journey. Like I have to start thinking in decades and not years, not days, not months, whatever. And a lot of what I'm saying is ideas that I got imprinted, like I took in from all the podcasts that I mentioned I listened to earlier. People like Alex Hormozy, people like Rogan, people like Chris Williamson and Naval especially, and like all these people who like teach you how to think about things. And then you, when you're in it, which this is something we've talked about a lot lately, like it's not enough to just say, oh, we're in a time of conflict or a time of crisis or a time of like, chaos or some difficult time. Yo, this person quoted this thing that's relevant here. It's like we can't just sit around and quote all these people who like have said factually helpful and accurate things regarding like turmoil or difficulty and then not actually do it.
Right.
And so when it comes time to like, fuck man, like why are we not selling out all these shows on the first day that we announced or whatever, like whatever your issue is, to remind yourself, like, man, this is a long ass journey. Like I have to think in decades. I have to build something that has momentum so that I get to year 10, 20, 30. It has so much momentum that at that point I'm like, fuck, man, I really thank Omid and Neema from 28 years ago, 15, 10 years, all these times that built for me, built the building blocks of like a community of whether it's email list, a text platform, writing jokes on your end, like getting better, bombing, learning from it, coming back to the notebook, like all these things. So my perspective overall in terms of how things sort of like what Tom Bilyeu says are the physics of progress. I've really become okay with the fact that things take time. It's a process, and process doesn't mean linear growth. It means sometimes up, sometimes down. So
that's pretty good.
I think that answers the question.
Yeah, and I guess a lot of people don't even know that you what you did in the past, and which is why it makes sense why you're managing me now. I like to touch on that a little bit because I think it's very interesting, and I think it's just good context, to be honest, because it's like, you know, you have all this experience, like you said, with entrepreneurial, you know, background in the entertainment world, but not comedy, which has helped my comedy business now. And because you used to DJ for like over 10 years, right? Over a decade, and
15 years,
15, yeah. And it's just like interesting how you had to almost go through all those trials and tribulations of the DJ world to get to the point now where like it's almost like a second life where, you know,
it's like a rebirth.
It's a rebirth because you had to go through all the shit you had to go through, which is I also have gone through myself in a different way in the beginning of my career, right? It's like we talk about this all the time, with, you know, dealing with how to deal with people, shitty deals, money, getting fucked on money. I don't know, the endless, like the problems at the gigs, getting canceled last minute, driving to the gig and getting canceled, someone fucking you over. Like there's so many classic scenarios that happens in especially in the nightlife industry and in comedy in general. But it's like I always say, you know, like it's almost like I always feel like it's meant to be that you had to be a DJ and like go through all, like, because you said fucking you went all over the world. You fucking traveled the world DJing. Like, it's fucking nuts. Like, what are the chances you did that and then now you also manage me, like, and we're also traveling and stuff? It's like, but without you going through what you had to go through with, like, you know, all those years of being in nightclubs and whatever, dealing with issues and stuff like that, I feel like this brand, this operation right now wouldn't be as good as it could be. But because it's like you have, it's almost like you're like 10 years ahead in a way. Like you're already like 10 steps ahead, and you know how to help me and like going forward and making deals and fucking knowing how to deal with money, or knowing how to talk to people, or how to like get out of situations. So I always say like and I'm saying this to the podcast. It's like it's fucking it's like I'm grateful to have this because one, you're my older brother, so it's like it's someone I can fucking trust. Yeah, it's big, which is a big thing. Most comedians don't have this already. And it's because it's like, I know you're not gonna fuck me over and vice versa. 'Cause it's like we're in this together. It's 50-50, right? It's like without you, I wouldn't be where I am, and you could say vice versa too. It's like we're both creating the opportunities for ourselves. And two, the fact that you have all this experience in that world, it's actually very similar to this world too, because it's like you kind of the same kind of vibe. It's like gig work, right? Yeah, very similar. You get paid under the table sometimes, or cash, or it's like people just like verbal agreements and all this bullshit. But then I feel like with your expertise, it takes it to the next level of like doing it properly and professionally, because you went through all the fucking amateur shit for me to not have to go through that now. And so I guess pretty much what I'm saying is thank you, bro.
Yeah, no, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my comment on that would be, true. I spent a decade and a half, even a bit more than that, from the very beginning of being in nightlife and entertainment world. And although a lot of that time was difficult because I was by myself, not living a good lifestyle from a habit standpoint, relationships I had with people, close or distant, weren't really of substance. It was a time when I was still so afraid of like being myself, or being unapologetically myself, something like that, or just like being comfortable in my own skin, something I'm still working on, by the way. And so based on the fear of presenting myself as who I really was, there was a ton of like using people, keeping them at a distance, like manipulating to like get just like the outcome I wanted, like very selfish behavior, tendencies to, because you're so like you're living in such scarcity that you're so worried that things are going to be taken from you or taken advantage of you. And so you're just like constantly in defense. You're constantly trying to like, oh, how is this guy going to fuck me out of money or a position, or am I going to get fired and this person's going to take over? What are they saying behind my back? And what do people think about this? And so I met so many different characters, if you will, or like archetypes of people through working in nightlife. Some of my closest, dearest friends came from it. And some of the people that like, if I had to say I had an arch nemesis or whatever, or people that like I just, I find challenging, or I don't really get along that, or they rub me the wrong way, also from that world. And after I went through that phase, and like I had a huge shift in the amount of time I was spending there because I wasn't DJing either at all or full time, I was able to reflect and be like, you know what? First of all, I got into it with pure intentions, which was great because I genuinely love music the way you like comedy. It's something I would do for free. I do it for free. I download music, I listen to it, I play it, I mix it, I record it when nobody's looking, for no reason at all, purely because I just likes music in all its glory. But because it didn't end up being something that I was doing anymore for the right reasons, then it became survival and doing it for just money and doing it for like status and how I look to other people, and wrong reasons. And so I guess what I'm saying is that experience gave me the foundation to understand that especially I think entertainment, which I'm not saying is like a special sector, but it's different in kind because a lot of it happens on like, there's no companies really. There's no business to business. Right, it's a lot of people to people. I get it. Every business is people to people, but it's a lot of individual people to people. And there's a lot of like, hey man, people want to, I don't take advantage is not the right word, but like people want to use you to like, make money, right? Like people want to use you to promote their thing or get their thing. And so I learned a lot, and being in this role now, I feel a lot more equipped to be like, all right, man, I trust people to behave in their self-interest. And every single, money is involved in every single one of these for the most part.
Right.
Which to sort of like transition, I would say, it's like this part of the conversation, sort of to bring it back to something you said earlier. One thing I really like about comedy, especially in what it is in the 2022, 3, 4 version of it, is that collabs are generally a very pure thing.
Oh yeah,
like Mark, who like rudely interrupted us.
Yeah.
Mark Anthony. Somebody like Mark Anthony, who I've really grown. I've liked him from the beginning, but I've really grown closer to him as a friend. And obviously, he's worked with us. We've worked with him, vice versa. And you guys have collaborated a lot. And I think he's fucking hilarious. Somebody like that, when you guys get together, and I'm in like the other room or on the other floor, like, and you hear you guys laughing.
Yeah.
And you can say the same thing about lots of other, like Teddy, Teddles, Alex, Austin, fucking Nav.
Yeah.
Like there's lots of people that, like, I'm sure people who are familiar with your stuff will know. Those, like, that collaboration is so pure and such a beautiful, organic thing that happens where you almost forget you're like in a business. You almost forget that at some point you're trying to make money just to survive.
Right.
And so that's one of the things I really do like about, there's lots that I like, but that's one of the things I really, I think are.
Yeah. You've mentioned that before too. And that's why it's very interesting to talk about it. But also I wanted to ask because, well, you've been now, it's been almost like 5 years at this point since you've came on board with, like, you know, my comedy, like and we've like kind of created this business together, the Estupid Group Inc. Do you remember you remember the first time we like pretty much started working together?
I don't.
Like I was literally working at Rat Room.
Oh,
right? Remember?
Okay, from that standpoint, yeah.
Yeah, and like, well, I guess, I don't know, people were probably watching and it's like probably new for them, but it's like I was working 3 part-time jobs at the time.
Wow.
This was early 2019, and I was at Rec Room's place, fucking downtown. We call it Rat Room because they made me clean up fucking rat shit. And then I was working at Ono Poke Bar, the sushi place.
Shout out Mo.
Yeah, shout out Mo. Yeah, I was just cutting up avocados, bro. I was going off.
It's funny.
And then I was doing some other shit, I forget, but I was also trying to I was doing stand-up still, but like not really. I was just like, I feel like I kind of was losing it because it was just like I was in a lull in a way, like without even knowing. Because I finished Humber the year before that, and then that whole year I was living downtown on my own. And that was around the same time that you were going through a breakup and everything too, and you moved back home to our parents' house, and I was the first time in my life I got to fucking live my own for like that year, and that's when I lost some weight, whatever. I was trying to like focus on like on my health a little bit, but like wasn't doing it for the right reasons really, in retrospect. And then like I don't know, I feel like it was that's why I always say like everything happens for a reason. It's like perfect time because I was in a lull. I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. Like I was making content a little bit on YouTube, just random shit. I wasn't even doing accents or anything at the time, really. I was just fucking whatever, random videos. I was doing some stand up here and there, but I was just really more like busy and occupied more so with these part-time jobs. And then you just moved back home, and then we were talking, and like, you know, I feel like you were in a vulnerable position at the time, and you need more like, you know, someone to, you know, come and be supportive and like, you know, just be around. And naturally in my head, I was like, I needed an out to like do something different. And that was when you mentioned to like just come back home, save money, start posting content on socials, right? Because that's you somehow you knew that like it was starting to pick up on socials like Instagram and TikTok and shit. And then I was like, yeah, fuck it. And when I came back home that month, I started to post those videos on Instagram. And then like one by one, they start to pick up slowly, right? And that was the beginning of when we started to work together. And I was like, oh, I actually kind of like this. And it was way more fun for me. So I was like, oh, finally, I was the first time I had like a vision because like I had someone else to kind of like guide me in a way. Because I always had the drive to like, I just wanted to fucking do comedy. I wanted to like prove that I can do it. I want to make it somehow. But I didn't know how at all. I was so lost. And then when you came along and you started to kind of guide me, okay, man, start posting one clip on Instagram a week, if you remember. One video. And it was not even like a fucking original video. It was just me using a sound, but like it was just me like playing a character as a Persian character, for instance. And I posted that one video that went kind of viral for me at the time. I was only at 2,000 followers.
Damn, that's crazy.
2,000 followers, and I posted one video, and it was like I was gassed about it because I was like, "Oh man, this video has 10,000 views on it on Instagram."
That's a lot of time.
At the time, it was a lot. 10,000 views, fucking I don't know, like 500 to 1,000 likes or something like that, like 50 comments, and I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck? This is crazy." And then the next week came, and it's like, "All right, man, post another one, right?" And I posted another one, and then that was the I think it was the "This Is My Voice One Day in Iran" video. And that shit fucking took off like crazy, if you remember.
You actually showed me that recently.
Yeah, it popped up. It was literally the 5-year anniversary, like a few days ago, of
That's progression.
Yeah, that exactly. So I remember that happening, and then from there, I don't know what happened. Like all of a sudden, like I don't know why. Like I don't even remember why. I don't know if you remember, but like when I did that, This Is My Voice One Day in Iran video, the next day or the next couple of days, I started doing all the characters. But like I don't know why it just hit me to like do those characters. But I found it as like a good format to try different characters, and it all worked. It all fucking worked.
Yeah, that was like the original voices of my GTA, whatever.
Well, like there's all the original characters I created.
Right.
And it started then, that same month, because that one video went viral. The second video, I believe it was the like hockey character one. That one blew up on the hockey pages, right? Because all the meme pages start to repost them, right? And then it was fucking the Woodbridge one, the Woodbridge Italian one.
Oh yeah.
And then that got picked up on the Italian
crazy,
pages.
yeah.
And then one by one, I was like, oh man, if I'm getting picked up everywhere, let me keep going. That's how I created more characters. Because I was hyped that like, oh, this one works. Now this one works. Now this one works. And that, I think that was the key for me to like continue making those characters. And then, you know, Bianca character, the basic bitch character, fucking, and then Gary V, right? Gary V one, and then fucking
Fan favorite.
I don't know, like all these ones, whatever. But then that was pretty much when you start to like guide me and be like, all right, man, like, because I was doing one a week at the time, and then like imagine telling me that now, like doing one a week. When I've been literally came from doing 3 a week and like a few months ago. Sorry, for 3 a day a few months ago.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, but that was the moment where like I feel like it started to actually pick up for me. Was when you start to like kind of guide me a little bit, and that was, you know, ever since obviously it's been great. But
that's interesting. I didn't know that fully. Like I obviously I know what you're talking about. I didn't know that that's what you would have pegged as the beginning of us working together. Because in my mind, for some reason, I was like. The reason I said I don't know is because I'm like, well, when was the first like official thing that I did? But I guess now that I'm hearing what you're saying, like that's a good point. I mean, I guess from your point of view, like the whatever feedback, guidance, help, just like having somebody else to toss ideas off of was like probably the first time. So the reason that's interesting, especially in regards to the Gary V character that obviously, like I'm sure anybody listening knows, you know, blew up to the point none of us could believe. Like, for those of you who don't know, really quick, like, so Neema was doing impersonations of Gary V. Gary V started by like liking it, and then commenting, and then DMing, following, and then whatever, all these things. And then we got hit up by his team, who's like, hey, like, we'd love to have Neema like come on. Like originally it was come on Ask Gary V or Tea with Gary or some whatever the show was called. I forget his podcast. Right. And I was like, holy fuck, like. Yeah, what is happening? Like I was like, that was one. That was not the first one, but one of the first times where like somebody legit major, etc. was like reaching out, and I was like really starting to understand the power of social media. I was like, holy shit, like this is crazy. Like I can pretty much get anyone's attention, kind of thing, if the content is good and authentic, all those things. And so, anyways, they invited Neema to come and be because him and another impersonator. There's a few of them, but those two got invited to VCon, which is Gary V's like inaugural NFT based kind of conference, Web3 thing. Neema was the first person to ever walk out on the VCon stage, and then he impersonated Gary V. It was nuts. Yeah, it was nuts. And anyway, so the reason I bring up Gary V is because when you briefly mentioned, so I was going through a breakup, I basically fucked up every aspect of my life.
Breakup,
debt, out of shape, fat fuck. Still, that's kind of true.
Get much better though.
Working on it. Yeah, working on it.
Trust me.
I'm down like 100 pounds since that moment.
That's pretty wild.
That's wild.
100 pounds?
80 pounds, yeah.
That's a lot.
Something like that. So, so what happened was my friend Gabe, shout out Gabe Galucci. Golf.
Oh,
he's going to be on the what is it? GPA?
PGA.
PGA.
PGA Golf Tour.
I went full dyslexia for a second.
PGA Tour.
PGA Tour. He put me on to Gary Vee. He's like, yo, your number one concern really, or the thing that's really weighing on you, like obviously there's a lot of stuff weighing on you, but one thing you can actually do something about, you can't speed up your heart's recovery of like healing from a breakup, but you can definitely start getting out of debt.
Yeah.
And he's like, he put me onto Gary Vee. He's like, check out garage sailing and flip life.
Right.
That was when Gary Vee was pushing.
Yeah.
Man, just look around your house. You probably have $500, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 worth of stuff that like you're never going to use. You've never used. Sitting like, you know, you could use the money for something else. If you have a dream of getting out of debt or building a business or having just fucking a little bit more cushion every month.
Garage sale?
Exactly. And so I started to sell I literally sold everything from like my car to
you sold bare shit.
Drones, extra phones, electronics, clothing, shoes, all kinds of fucking nonsense that I obviously shouldn't have bought in the first place. But when you're trying to impress people, you don't even fucking know with stuff and you don't care about with status and supposed status of things that you have.
Right.
You know, that's how you get yourself into. Officially, it was like 123,000 in debt, something like that.
That's
in credit cards, almost exclusively.
Wow. Yeah, I remember that.
Wild. So Gary and I started consuming his content. One thing led to another, and then he's the person who introduced me to like Tom Bilyeu. He then introduced me to, like, not personally, but through his show, obviously, to all these people that I now call
role models.
Yeah, role models, people that I'm inspired by. I like deeply admire.
That's what got you on that tip of like self-help and
Gary Vee was the first one.
Yeah.
So Gary Vee was the first one, and then that led me to Tom Bilyeu, who then that really led me to Goggins, and that's I would say like the Goggins one is like, I mean, you could make the case that any of those people were like what jump started, but Goggins just did something to my brain, because my big issue in life, one of my very big issues in life, generally speaking, if I had to pick like 2 or 3 of them, was lying. And it's not because I'm a serial fucking liar and I want to like hurt people and I've, you know, I was just so afraid of telling people who I really was and like being honest about it. And so David Goggins had a similar issue with lying and like just like concealing the truth and trying to make things seem like they were different, because you're like, well, I don't want to tell people that I'm actually afraid or that I'm not good at this or that I don't, whatever. So Gary Vee was instrumental in me, like, you know, hustle culture, and not like in a toxic sense, because that word has been like demonized for some reason. But he got me to be like, dude, like, you have one life. Like, the chances of you being a human being are whatever estimated to like 400 trillion to 1, which is incalculable. Like, it's hard for your brain to even fucking understand. So all those things considered, and then I really started to buy into like a self-help thing. But along the way, I would also get doses of content is king. Like, put yourself out there, like show the world who you are. Like, you're the niche. Like, if you're Gary Vee, who's interested in wine and football and business and marketing and video games, whatever, and kicks and sneakers, like you're the niche. And you know, the thing that really, one of the things that got you famous with regards to fame is just fucking make. Yeah. Right?
I'm gonna fucking make, my man.
Exactly. So
that's fact.
That was I guess to comment on like how this all started. I basically just told you what Gary Vee told me. Like, again,
well, that's his message though. That's literally the whole point of Gary Vee is literally that. He's just trying to like spread the message and then like go do your own thing, which is what we did, right? It's like he literally just like use me for what you need and then move on, right?
Yeah, that's his thing. That was one of the first times I ever heard somebody on the internet be like, take in my content, but then like stop listening to me. Yeah, like go stop consuming my content. Like go do the thing. Which I thought was like, just, man, like if that's not a pure indication of somebody's purity, in regards to like he just wants to help people and genuinely get them to stop suffering and start working towards their thing. Gary Vee is really responsible, which I think is such an interesting full circle, because he's responsible for me getting out of my own way, in my own headspace enough to be like, yo, I actually could impart his wisdom through me to you and be like, yo, like, well, what are you doing working these part-time jobs? I know a little bit because I've, 5-6 years older, I've gone through the entrepreneur thing.
Right. That's the thing. It happened at the right time.
A lot of very divine timing.
Because you went through all that shit for so many years, and then it just kind of came together, It was like almost like the fucking stars aligned. Totally. And I always felt deep down inside like I just needed help somehow, but I didn't know I don't know how or what. I didn't even know I needed this. Like I knew one day as a comedian, you're like, oh man, it'd be nice to have a manager. But I don't know why it never clicked for me until we started working together. I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like, but also, what are the chances that you, in that time, had to go through all that stuff, started helping yourself, and then it was like perfectly timed. It was a perfect time to come on board, to like take me up a little bit, take it up a notch, like my career. And I don't know. I think it happened at the right time, at the perfect time. And then, man, fucking look at all the crazy shit. We've been working together for like maybe 5 years. Yeah. And like, look at all we've done, right? It's like, it's pretty good.
It's amazing.
It's like, it's not bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd say we've definitely done, more than a typical person would do without a manager. Especially because most comedians are like me, who are like fucking, they don't know what the fuck they're doing for the most part. They're just, they're funny, and they're creative, and they're artists, right? But they don't have that business mindset. And that's the thing that, like, now, after, having all these conversations with you over the years or whatever like that, and we listen to all these fucking people like Tom Billy or David Goggins. I love, obviously, Goggins. He's my guy. Like, I feel like a lot of comedians just don't have that in them, that, like, extra drive to, like, fucking take it to the next level. It's all about, because they're very, like, there's so much self-esteem issues with comedians. Right. And I have so many comics.
A lot of imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome, right? Like, that's why some of them off themselves, because they're like, they think they're terrible. But then, that's like the worst. That's the extreme, right? But then, like, the common thing is, like, a lot of comedians, they'll just, like, I don't know, they won't work as hard, or like they won't use the resources that they have to, like, do better, or like they're not good at marketing themselves. And then they kind of, like, latch onto this, like, ego that, like, they're just like, they're fucking stand-up comics, and they're so funny. But then, like, where's that gonna get you if you don't know how to fucking market yourself? If you're not good with people, you don't know how to work with people. You're not good with money. There's all these issues, right? Yeah. And that's why I feel like managers are such a crucial point, especially if you can trust them, because there are some managers who fuck over their clients, and I've literally known people like that. So
yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
No, I being in this line of work, if you will, or being in this role, I've, for myself, sort of unpacked, like, what it means to be a manager, a representative, an agent, like, business owner, entrepreneur, all those things. And what I don't know if it's the right intuition, but, like, my intuition is the way, if we get to a point in this business where we add more NeemaNazes, right? Like, we want to grow the estupid group, and we want to add more comics, and then also more agents, managers, like, on my side as well. It's almost like you're not a manager first. You're almost like you're almost managing personality, and you're almost like a coach, sort of, before the other things, because you're not constantly, but, like, you're more often than not trying to explain to the person how to build habits, how to honor the craft, like how to sort of pay respect to the muse, kind of thing. There's a lot of everybody who's a fan of you is like, this guy is the funniest guy I've ever seen in my life. And it's like a lot of cheers. And it's not that I boo, but I also try to keep it real, be like, hey, like, let's not get over leveraged on the cheers, as Gary Vee would say, but also, like, hey, like, I mean, somebody has to be real in a sense, or closer to objectivity, and say, yo, like, I actually don't think this was your best effort, or I actually don't think that this was maybe good for your brand, because this is kind of what people expect from you. And then you come to a show, it's like, why are you saying stuff like that? Like, and we've worked through things like that before. And so, yeah, I think being a manager, you have to be sensitive to the fact that stand-up comedy, like, and I always say this to comedians, not just you, I say to a lot of comedians, like, if you were to survey 1,000 people, I'm guessing something like 990 of them would not be willing to get up and on a stage for any reason and publicly speak to a bunch of strangers.
Right.
Now add the added more difficult element of you also have to not only have to public speak, you also have to be funny. You also have to be entertaining. You have to be engaging. So like just the fact that you have the courage to get up on a stage and try, like just put out an effort, but also just try to make people laugh, try to bring joy, try to like, be an escape for them from their bad day that they're having or fucking shitty week that they're going through. This is like enough for you that you should feel good about the fact that you're trying. It's not good enough, I think, because most people aren't going to be happy with that. They want to be the best. They want to have the most tightest jokes and the most relatable content, and the most whatever. And so like I'm all for that. Like that's why, again, growth and building and assessing and okay, that sucked. How do we make it better? Being honest about the fact that it sucked, blah, blah. But stand-up comedy is like, sometimes I ask I'm like, how hard could it be? It's ridiculous, right? I'm like, I'm so close to it. I'm like, how hard could it be? And I'm like, all right, I'll be able to get up on stage and tell 2 minutes of jokes. And then I actually play it out in my mind. I'm like, what would I even talk about? I'm like, I have no fucking idea. And then I just revert to, because I think I'm witty, I don't know, I'd be like, oh, I could just do crowd work. I'll just like get on stage and be like, hey man, what's up? You came with this girl? Cool. That's what you wore? Awesome. Does it come in men's? Well, like I'll just roast classic. People and then people will be like, bro, why is this guy lighting me up? So anyways, all that is to say, the role of being, at least my experience and intuition about being a manager or representative is that it's almost more personnel management and personal coaching, like human to human interaction, than it is business and marketing and strategy. Like it is those things too. And I love that. But the first layer is like, is this person good? Like in their heart, in their mind,
right? Are
they thinking clearly? Do they feel good? Are they nourished? Are they have they slept well? Have they whatever paid respect to the craft? Like, did they write material? Did they bounce ideas off other comics that they like and they trust? Did they consume other comedians? Because you're all you're constantly inspired by. Biggest inspiration for you is Russell Peters. He's the person who, in a sense, gave me even my sense of humor. I'm not a comic, but. I got a lot of my comedy, and we've gotten a chance, obviously, to meet and perform with them. And his brother Clayton, who's been definitely, I don't know if he feels this way, but he's certainly something of a mentor to me. Like I deeply admire and respect what they've built, and I try to, anytime I get a chance, try to fucking learn and absorb things and be like, man, like I could just download like 30 years of experience into one conversation. Yeah. So, anyways. It's a very interesting dynamic, and the part of me that kicks in a lot of the times in terms of management is this big brother-esque feeling. In this case, you're literally my younger brother, but even when I talk to other comedians, like people like Mark, Andrew Packer, lots, I don't know, Shay and Ryan, like all these people that we've met, and I always sometimes will hear a conversation about how, oh, like this thing happened, or this person fucked me on this deal, or like cancel this, or this person said, and I always feel this sense of protectiveness and like this older brother vibe that I want to have for people, because I'm like, fuck, that's bullshit. Like, okay, this guy can't be a dick because I don't know, comedians are kind of people pleasy by nature, for sure, 100%. Like, because you're trying to, you want people to like you. I get it.
You want to be on people's good side.
But you're also the artist. It's also tough. Like, that's what I learned in my DJ world. It's like, man, it's hard to be your own manager and your accountant and the bookkeeper and the marketer and the performer and the thing. And then when somebody fucks you, it's hard to be like, well, bro, that's kind of fucked up. And then hope that they book you again next week because you're the same person.
I know. It's tough.
But I can kind of say that on your behalf, and I'll be like, hey, like unemotionally, dude, I don't think this is really fair, and here's the thinking behind that.
Right.
And we can have a conversation.
Right.
But it's hard for the artist to do that for themselves. And so
100%.
This whole thing, I'll wrap up by saying, like, I understand the roles.
Right. And that's when, exactly. And that's why I feel like it's so valuable, is because, and we always talk about this, how like, how relieved I am that I don't have to fucking email people or like go get on meetings with people or talk to people about like business things, right? Because I just want to focus on the creative side, which is what truly a comedian should be doing. That's why having this manager aspect is so clutch. It's like before you came along, I had to send my own emails. I had to fucking send my own invoices, like whatever it is, right? And it's like such a drag. But it's so clutch having you on this side, because you're like, it's such a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. And anyone who has a manager can say the same thing, especially someone you can trust, right? And it's like, I don't have to worry about what you're gonna do, because well, one, you're already smarter than I am. Like you have so many, you're more resourceful, I'd say.
Yes, finally got evidence of that.
I don't give a fuck. But I'm funny. I don't give a shit. But and also, it's like I kind of like, you know, we obviously talk about like certain things that come up, like people want to book me for an event or a gig or stuff like that, right? But in my head, I'm like, I don't even want to fucking know. Like, I don't really care, like, because I don't even care about the deal itself or like what you guys are talking about. I just want to do the gig. You know what I'm saying? But I'm happy knowing you actually care and know what you're doing with those things, because I'm like, okay, like it's just like I can just worry about my craft, like about my stand up and content or whatever, and I trust that you're gonna make the right decisions. And like, because that's the other thing too, is like I always know you're gonna make the right decision for the brand and for me and for you. So it's like, fuck, man, this is the best feeling in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I appreciate it.
That's why. And then you were talking about like not as an artist, like it's hard to be your own art accountant, manager, all those things. It's like, yeah, that's such a big part of it, because you can't be a dick, and that's something I struggle with a lot too, because I'm like, I'm a little people pleaser too, right? It's like I want people to like me, and it's tough because it's like, man, that's why there's tendencies to as comedians to be pushovers, and where I found myself even recently, right? It's like we were talking about this. I'm like, it's obvious, because, you know, if I be a dick to this person, I might not get booked on something. That's such a common thing in the scene, in the comedy community. It's like, even when you get professional, I like, the more successful you get, obviously it gets easier. But in the beginning stages, it's like you gotta be, you gotta suck dick to fucking get stage time. You gotta like be, legit. You know, you gotta be almost fake in a way. You gotta be fake nice, even to people you don't fucking like. You know how many times I had to show face and like shake hands and be all smiley and like literally fucking almost beg to get a spot, because like it's the only way I can get a spot. It's like, it's crazy. It's a real thing that happens all the time. Yeah. And having the manager part just solves all those problems, because then now you could be a fucking dick if you wanted to, but still, you know, it's more just straightforward and like more, it's not even being a dick. It's more so just being more firm. But it could come off as being a dick. But I'd be willing to have that happen with a manager than like myself. So
yeah, I've one thing I guess I've said is that being coming off as a dick, like I'm not saying I've been, like I've actively tried to be one, but one thing that happens that I guess I've reflected on is I don't act emotionally because my personal wallet or my pocket is not involved. In that, like, when I was an artist or music DJ, whatever, like, you're always like, okay, well, me as Omid the human, needs to make $300, 500, 1,000, whatever. But you know that you're underselling yourself as far as the brand goes, as far as like the work. And so the manager part, more unemotionally, is able to be like, yeah, that's great. Like, I appreciate the inquiry. Thanks for the budget, blah, blah, blah. But it's just not worth this person's caliber of what he brings to the table. Even though you as Neema the human might really need the payday, I think a lot of the mistakes I made were, like in my own life, not necessarily in this business, but making a decision for Omid and not for the the DJ brand. And then you continuously water it down, and you're starting to, you'll accept less and less and less. And the next thing you know, you've been doing this for 10 years, 12, whatever years, and you're still making this roughly the same amount of money. It's like, well, what the fuck? Yeah. Whereas if you are growing and you are getting better and you actually have improved your skill set, all those things, well, you know, you should be able to demand slightly more money. And in this case, you know, we're in the attention economy. Shout out Gary Vee again. Yeah. And so as you build more following, more whatever, it's like, well, man, I can't charge what I used to before because, well, I've proven based on attention that I've sort of earned and garnered towards my brand, people like what I'm saying, whether it's a joke or inspirational, or your fitness journey or whatever it is. And so you're able to more unemotionally detach yourself from that and because I don't think objectiveness is even fully possible, like 100% of it, but getting closer and less, like further away from subjectivity, you're able to say like, all right, man, NeemaNaz is the person that he is today, as the brand that he is, all the good will and faith and all the brand building and community building and whatever that he's done. Is it worth this amount of money or this opportunity? Is it worth his time? And I think that's where a lot of artists because maybe they don't have somebody else like going to bat for them, sometimes fall short, or they slow their growth, or they water down their brand. So
yeah, no, that's facts. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean that's common, and it's a constant struggle too. And I see it every day. Like, obviously, I know comics all the time. We always talk about this. I'm like, they're just lost, man. Everyone's fucking lost.
Yeah, I really want to help the comedians, especially for where we're from in Toronto and Canada and surrounding areas. In general, like one of the things I mentioned briefly, like earlier, when I have my own show, that's one of the things I would talk about is like what it's like to, be a manager, like what things I look for, what things I've learned. And like, I have a long way to go. I know that there's tons I don't even know I don't know yet. Mm-hmm. But in the things that I have learned so far, if I could share that and create value for other people who maybe don't have one yet, they could be like, all right, man, next time in a conversation or negotiation or a contract, it's like, I'm going to look at least for these basic 3 things or whatever. Right.
And you always learn new things every time you make like a business deal or some shit. You always
endlessly, man.
Every time we talk about it, you're like, ah, fuck, I should have done this.
Yeah.
Every single time. There's always something.
It's nonstop.
But then like you just keep adding to that
Yeah, it's this like delicate dance between, all right, man, this time now I know these 3 things, and now I'm going to a next contract negotiation. I'm going to make sure I look at these 3. But then there's this almost unsettling nature about knowing that every single time you talk to somebody new, do a business, there's something you don't know, and you're going to walk away being like, fuck, I didn't know that. But going into it, there's like the unsettling nature of like, there's something in here that I don't know, but I don't know what I don't know. Yeah. And so I have to go through this experience and be like, fuck, I didn't even think about that. And it's not necessarily that you got fucked or taken advantage of. It's just,
you should have just.
You want, when you're in the aggressive pursuit of wanting to be like the best negotiator, best contractor, best offer, proposition, right, or whatever. There has not been one day that I have not learned something new. Which is
it'll be a problem if you didn't.
Of course, but that's one of the things I really do like about this line of work, and maybe it's just maybe that's part of the new 2.0 version of my mindset that I've built anyways, which is, first of all, I know I don't know everything. That's obvious, but I know I probably will not. Like, there's so much I don't know that it's like
it almost bothers you.
It almost bothers me. I'm just like, fuck, like. Which I think, Jordan Peterson, I think, was one of the people that really instilled this in me. Is like, every person you meet has the capacity to teach you something new or tell you something you didn't know. Whether it's useful or not is irrelevant. It's almost like there's something out there about a perspective or some genuine thing that you don't know that somebody will tell you. And so I've just become comfortable being seated in ambiguity, being like, I don't know. Being okay starting with I don't know. Mm-hmm. And then, all right, what can be taken from this has been honestly freeing, because it makes it easier for you to, like, I'm saying this for myself, like, to be okay with the mistakes you make. You're like, man, like, I just didn't know. Like, I learned. Now the next time, if you don't make a difference, or if you don't change your behavior, then you learn nothing. Yeah. That's Alex Hormozy's famous thing. Like, with given new information, if you don't change your behavior, you learn nothing.
Right.
You just repeated the same thing and it's like, it's almost like you deserve to make that mistake because you didn't learn, you didn't alter the behavior. And so, yeah, that's a beautiful part. And man, this is, I would say, like, I guess I don't know if I've explicitly ever asked this of somebody who does stand up, but in the moments you're on stage and you're telling the jokes, do you sort of register like, oh, that joke didn't work? Like, I have to sort of learn, future tense, like, go back and learn to write this differently, to tell this joke differently, to
Yeah, for sure.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I almost get pissed when sometimes I get mad when I say a joke on stage that I've been trying for a few weeks or whatever, and then I say the wrong word.
Oh my god!
Like leading into the next line.
So
I'm like,
annoying.
or like I mix up a word or the order of the joke too. I'm like, fuck, man. Like I've been doing this for however many times, and like, why did I do that now? But yeah, it's like I'm hyper aware every single time I do something. Like every single bit I try or I do on stage. Like in the moment, I know if I fucked it up or not. But then you can't show it.
That's only you know, really.
Yeah, but only I know. But like that's the thing is that in itself is a skill. Knowing that you fucked up and you're still like the character you want on stage.
Yeah, it's an act.
Yeah,
right?
it's an act.
Yeah, I mean that's literally in the definition of like what it is.
Yeah, and so it's annoying, but like it's obviously a part of the process, and like it's fun because every single time you get up stage, you're like, oh, I got to redeem myself from this last one. Even if you did well, it's like, oh man, I want to see if I can outdo it tomorrow, or at the next set, I would do this one. But especially the bombs, man. Especially the bombs. Like it's like I don't know. There will never be an end.
Just keep eating shit.
But I know for a fact, if somehow in the universe my last set, and I knew it was my last set, and I bombed, I'll find a way to do another set because there's no way I can live on a bomb. I can't end this career on a bomb,
Man, bombing must be such an interesting experience. Because like the only thing I guess the normal like lay person, like myself included, would be able to equate that to is like, if you're in a group of people like at a party, hanging out in the basement, and then you like make a joke.
That's a drag.
And it just like falls super flat, and everyone's like almost like they're almost pitying you. They're almost like,
God.
They're like just like
there's a meme actually
kind of thing.
There's a meme that like it's like all these white girls are just looking back at you like kind of with a disgusting face. I don't know if you've seen that. Like there's like 7 girls and they're just looking back like and like, that's exactly what I pictured that is. That's what fucking bombing is. Like those girls just like what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's the most embarrassing shit ever, but that's how you grow thick skin. And then like
It's
that's
actually,
why I have no issues like if I'm in public saying shit to
It's
people.
like the only way you'll learn.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's no other way. And it sucks every time, but I don't know. It is what it is.
I just think if for sure it sucks. Like I guess the other thing I could think about like that would sort of relate to this is when I'm DJing and you drop a song that no one's feeling, which has happened hundreds of
terrible.
times.
That's
and
garbage.
literally,
too.
I've had people like turn around and look at me and be like,
yeah, well, bro,
or like switch it up, right? And you're just like, no, it's good. Just like let it roll. And sometimes it really is because people don't like, they're quick to judge, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, trust me, like there's a sick remix or a sick edit or whatever coming. But I have felt that moment like of like people looking at you and being like, brother, like,
bro.
do you even like, are you deaf? Have you ever heard music ever before?
Seriously.
Like, it's like,
Yeah.
brother, who taught you how to,
What are you doing?
What are you
What kind of scam you running? Shout out Jojo Scarlota.
Man,
That guy's fucking funny. He's we've been laughing at his videos the past week. Guy from New York. What kind of scam you running? Vegan deli. No bacon and cheese with vegan?
What kind of fucking scam? Who are speaking of creators, like who are some of your favorite creators? I think obviously comedians we know, but who's some of like people like comics that you follow? I'm just gonna change the exposure. Just keep talking.
Exposure? What happened? Oh, true. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I guess my favorite creators, I don't know. I have a lot. I mean, I love Jojo Scarlota, obviously those guys, him and his brother Nicky. Fucking these new guys, man. Like Sean, I think it's his name. Yeah, Sean. My parents divorced. That's his Instagram name. The guy from Dubai. Sean, the guy you talked to.
Yeah, he's great.
His stuff's fucking funny. Him and his whole crew, man. They have a good thing going over there. They like the one guy Fahad. I think he does his podcast videos too. Like they do the back and forth podcast kind of.
Of course, his name is Fahad.
Yes, similar to what me and Mark do, like like Teddy and stuff, the podcast videos. Those guys, a couple of new guys, Sandeep. He's like actually they were posting up with Russell recently because like Russell's in Dubai.
Nice.
Or in Middle East, and they're in Dubai. They live in Dubai, and like they just do all these pretty much same shit we do. Like they do the Indian character, Indian accent, like Arabs, Persian, all that stuff. So I love all those guys. I feel like I'm missing someone, but there's a couple of good ones, man. Yeah. What
I'm sure there's lots.
You watch any that you like?
Comedians or just in general?
Comedians.
Yeah. I actually do like Laura Ramoso stuff.
Oh yeah,
a lot.
Laura. Yeah. She's her
great.
videos. They're so simple, but like they fucking smash.
They're just
crazy,
so succinct and clean. Like so they're very relatable.
Yeah.
I do like the Sushi Mango guys. Who are actually
Sushi
from
Mango,
from
right,
Melbourne.
Melbourne can't.
Melbourne. I like their stuff. Comedians. I'm trying to think. I'm literally visualizing my Instagram feed.
I know. Yeah.
Because I'm not on TikTok. Fuck TikTok.
TikTok.
I do like obviously the people that like you've collaborated with. Like I'm genuine fans of like Austin and Mark.
Yeah.
Nav and those guys. Because I'm trying to separate it from like stand-up comedians to creators.
Yeah, creators like skits. People do skits and shit.
Trying to think. There's somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not like because like I would say a lot of the people I follow, especially on Instagram, are authors, philosophy, sort of like that kind of stuff, and
health.
I follow a lot of a lot of health, nutrition, diet.
Paul Saladino.
Yeah, Max Lugavere, fucking Asprey,
right?
All those people, and then
Eddie Abu,
Eddie's crushing. Yeah,
fuck your sugar.
Yeah, he's like, guys, this is shit. This eat real food.
This has half shit and half shit. Fuck your sugar, man.
Just cook.
Yeah. Stop eating this fucking shit.
I follow a lot of dating coaches, a lot of dating content.
I
follow tons. Most of my feed is basically some breed of dog.
Oh yeah, doggos.
Or
Good doggos.
/ farms. I follow goat farms, sheep farms.
Fuck, I want to drink raw milk now.
Yeah, tons of these. Like today, we're gonna see what happens when we there's this one. I forget the name of the thing, but this guy, he's on a farm where he fills up a wheelbarrow full of one fruit or tomatoes. And he just brings it in front of these 10 goats,
and they just muck.
And the whole video is just these goats eating tomatoes or
jeez,
or whatever pears
shit.
Or there's no talking besides the first sentence.
Oh
and
man,
then these goats just you're just you're just looking at them. And they're just, and then they jump in the wheelbarrow.
Oh my God.
They're eating over each other.
That's the best, man.
It's the best.
It's the most wholesome shit, right? You can't have a bad day looking at that.
That one dude on Instagram whose dog does math. Have you seen this one? He'll be like, no. I forget the name of the dog. Shirley,
fucking
something. He's like, all right, hey,
Luna?
Yeah, Luna. Yeah.
That guy,
hey, Luna.
that guy used to he goes to high school near where I went.
What the heck? I didn't know he was Canadian.
Same
he'll be like, hey, Luna, what's 3 times 2? And then she'll you see the dog appearing to think, and then it actually is thinking. And then it takes her paw, and he'll tap you 6 times. Holy shit!
It's fucked.
Another one is this golden retriever who talks with those buttons on the ground.
Right.
She programs 100 buttons to be like, "Mom, hungry, out, side food, whatever." And the dog knows.
I know. It's pretty wild.
What the fuck?
You know who I like? You know what I'm saying? Merlin, the pig.
Oh man, that fucking pig, bro.
Merlin.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mina and Merlin the pig.
Brings me so much joy.
Mina's got a whole farm in her house. They got a fucking
cow now.
A cow named Moo.
That's amazing. That's one of the best things I think I've ever heard.
Fucking lizard, rats.
Dogs. Yeah, she has
dog
a
now. Yeah.
Another one I follow is there's a rescue farm, Asher House.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And then I also follow this other family who just has like 14. They just have 14 dogs.
Amazing.
They do stupid shit where they'll like sit on the couch with a blindfold.
Oh,
and
I've
then
seen
they'll
that one.
send
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the dogs and be
I
like,
know.
"Oh, who's this?" And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
whatever."
No, I've seen that one. Those
It brings me
so
an amount of joy that. Then
Oh,
there's
man.
like sad ones too that like I follow. That's sad. Like it's sad that it's happening, but it's
Right.
inspired. Like
Yeah.
there's like Thai Vietnamese street dogs,
right.
and somebody will come and save them and stuff, and you're like, it's so
It's
fucking
emotional.
sad. But then it's like happy at the same time. I don't know. It's like
I cry all the time if I see those.
yeah,
I'm always crying.
I know dogs are the quickest way to bring me to tears.
100%.
Or animals in
Animals
distress
in
of
general.
any kind.
Oh man, it's the worst. But yeah, mostly just dogs. Yeah. It's always the emotional ones. It's never like I'm not crying just on regular dog videos. It's like if they're fun, they're like just cute and I love it. But then as soon as there's that sad piano and I see a dog, it's a wrap.
This is fucked.
Yeah, I'm fucking balling. Just an emotional guy, man. What am I gonna do?
What have you noticed about Australia so far?
Yeah, right.
From,
We haven't even
like,
talked about fucking Australia cat this whole time.
Australia.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, no worries, mate.
By the way, there's a video of Neema's stages of my voice
in Australia,
Australia,
actually.
that's
Yeah,
like-
that fucking blew up too.
it's blowing up,
Let's
yeah.
go.
Blowing
It's
up.
it's almost at like 1.5 million views now.
It's more. It's at like 2.1, 2.2
Oh fuck
now.
yeah!
Last
That's what
time
I'm
I
talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. Stay hard. Yeah, I mean, yeah, stay hard. Yeah, man. It was actually it's great timing that it's working too. Like that video is blowing up because we're trying to sell our shows here, but
checked. Speaking of which, May 9th, Melbourne. April 5th, Sydney.
Yeah, Sydney, April 5th, Melbourne, May 9th.
Come to the Estupid pop-up.
Yeah, tickets are in the description below if you want to check it out.
NeemaNaz.com.
Yeah, or NeemaNaz.com. Free meet and greet. Obviously, like we always just love to meet the fans and take pictures, chat, whatever. Yesterday, actually, I was walking on the street after I went to the stand-up show, and I was on the phone with my friend who I was supposed to like meet up with to go to the next place. And I'm talking, and some guy's like, "Yo, no fucking way, bro!" Like the most Aussie fucking guy.
Classic.
Bogan kind.
Bogan.
He comes up,
Joey.
he's like, "Yo, you NeemaNaz?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm NeemaNaz." And then he was just so hyped. And then he's a Persian guy though. He's like, "Salam chetori."
Oh my
like,
God.
so it was
I did
Persian
not
flop,
expect that, yeah.
Like from a Bogan Aussie
course.
accent. He's like, "Chetori Aziz." I'm like, "Oh, I'm good, man. You're
Bro,
Persian."
pick what you are.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So trippy, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, that happened twice in a row, like literally within the span of 10 minutes. Like when I was walking down the street at night in
wow.
Melbourne, yeah.
I still have not been out in the streets at night.
Oh, it's pretty sick. It's pretty fucking lit out there. It's nice. So anyway, we just chatted for a bit, and he was starstruck. He didn't know. He was looking at me like. I had to carry the conversation the whole time.
God.
But anyway, it was just so interesting. And then I told him obviously to come to the show and everything. You gotta self promote. You gotta fucking plug. And then whatever, he leaves, and then I'm with my friend that we're going to the show, and then this older Persian guy. He stopped. He's like, "Hey, I know you. I was like, "Hey,
Bobak.
and then he starts speaking in full Farsi.
Hits you with that.
Straight from fucking Tehran.
Yeah.
He just got here, and
nice,
he's like,
perfect Farsi. Yeah.
yeah, he was literally just like, "Oh man, videoی تو با مامانت اصلا عالی." Like he's just saying like, "Oh, your videos with your mom are just amazing." Like, "I love your mom." And I'm like, "What the fuck? It's so random."
They're A1.
Hey, one.
It blasted my mind.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's so cool. I don't know. It was
pretty
just
sick.
interesting. Like it's so trippy, like, because it's so new here for us, right? Yeah. We're in Melbourne, Australia, on the other side of the world, and there's people who fucking know me
Melbourne.
from videos I posted in the past few years. Like, what are the chances? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a crazy concept. So yeah. Anyway, that happened to me last. The first time really I got recognized here, so it was pretty cool. Pretty fucking nice. This is not no issue for me,
This
sir.
is no issue.
This is.
One thing I'll say about, and I still want to hear what you think, but I've noticed. Well, I would say the first day I noticed the driving on the opposite side of the street.
Oh yeah,
I keep wanting to say the wrong side of the street because I'm an entitled North American.
True,
but on the opposite side of the street. So, but what was interesting beyond that was that people on the sidewalk also walk.
I know. Right. That's
and then I start to think, because there's Melbourne especially is so multicultural. Like, well, that's one thing that makes me really actually feel like I'm in Toronto, like kind of like home, because it's all walks of life. Like it's a bit more white than 100%. Like there aren't that many people like of my skin color, like
I haven't
brown,
seen any,
dark.
bro.
There's not that many. Like, but nonetheless, I still see them. I still feel like, oh yeah, this is pretty much like Toronto.
Yeah.
But given that most of the world walks on the right side and drives on the right side, not the right as in the correct side, like just literally the right, left, whatever. Still here, they quickly adapt, and so did I. Now, everywhere I go, I'm constantly like, oh, walking left, walking left. The other thing I noticed was the city of Melbourne is very, it's almost North American in design, but the feel is European.
Yeah.
There's lots and lots of tiny laneways with cafes that have patios. Everyone's sitting outside. A lot of coffee drinkers. Everyone walks a lot, like they're very in shape. But it looks like a modern New York that's like not as dirty. I don't know. It's like a very interesting mix of North America and Europe, at least from the experience I've had in both those continents. The people are very friendly. I noticed that they're very friendly. A lot of people will make small talk with you. Like they're not really jitter. Like they don't like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes in US and Canada, like especially lately, there's a lot of like
attention.
What's this weirdo doing? Like, it's a lot of AirPods, hat with a brim, sunglasses on, just like go your way.
Yeah, don't fucking. What are you? Who's
but here, there's and yeah, exactly. And on the other hand, there's almost so much laxness, like relaxedness, that like I sometimes get annoyed walking on the sidewalk. I'm like, bro, like stop fucking window shopping. Like let's fucking go. Andiamo, bro.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. Vamos.
And so one thing I really like with regards to the architecture, the architecture is very unique. There's almost no two buildings look the same, including buildings of like residential and office. Yeah. They're all very unique, and they have lots of outdoor malls. Lots of like everything kind of feels indoor outdoor. So you never feel like, oh, I'm going into this mall now. It's kind of like the street just kind of like has an entrance into the mall. Yeah. And it's like so. And coffee. Coffee was, as a coffee drinker, which I finished my fucking cup of here before we started. Like
flat white.
I still haven't had anything except for espressos and black. But what I had yesterday, I never had this until I got here, was carbonated coffee, sparkling coffee. Tried that. It shouldn't be good.
Yeah, it sounds weird.
But it's amazing.
I don't know if I can get behind that.
I didn't think so either, but I was like, it's refreshing, and I'm getting coffee and caffeine, like all those things. And the coffee's very, like, one thing I really like about Melbourne as a whole, but certainly extends to coffee, is that it's very affordable. I wouldn't say it's inexpensive, but it's not expensive either. You're like, okay, that's fair. That's a reasonable price for this service or this whatever, which I love. So I just got back from the market today, and like, if you guys want to check out what I got, grocery haul.
Oh yeah,
we did
check out the vlog.
We did a little vlog thing.
Yeah,
Neema's been vlogging, by the way, so you guys can check out those episodes.
Yeah,
but
check the vlog. Yeah.
Went into the market with $120. Yeah. I got enough meat, dairy, and fruit for that'll last a week.
I know. That's proper, honestly.
Grass-fed finished stuff, organic mangoes, raw milk, like stuff that's high quality. And you're like, okay, man, $8 for a liter and a half of milk, but it's raw, organic, grass-fed, blah, blah.
No
you're
lectins.
Like, okay, man, cool. No phthalates and oxalates and lectins and
no L-arginine X3.
It's like, bro, what do you? No heavy metal. Why is there metal? Right?
Seriously, that's the bullshit too. Is all this fucking bullshit in food. That's why we always get the grass-fed shit.
Yeah, some of the things I've noticed, but
that's interesting. Yeah, I noticed the same things. Another thing too, it's still almost it kind of bothers me, but not really. But it's more so just like an observation. But everywhere I go, I'm the biggest motherfucker in the room. Like, and you feel the same way because you're obviously you're smaller than I am, but like even you think that you're probably one of the bigger guys wherever you go, right? And it's fucked. I'm like, bro, I thought I was okay back home in Canada. A lot of people look like me or even fatter than I am. And I'm like, all right, whatever. This is just normal. I come here, fucking. I talked about something on my story, right? Like last week. It's like everyone's fit. Everyone's got a nice ass.
I feel like I'm
Guys,
on Love
girls, fucking everyone's fit. Yeah, literally Love Island. I'm like, why do I look like this and they look like that?
I'm on fucking Lard Island.
Literally, bro.
Yeah,
I'm like, what's going on here, man?
So funny.
And that's the. I'm like, what are they putting in the food here? That it's like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. And obviously, the theory is it's because it's obviously the weather is so much better here overall. People are more drawn towards outdoors and nature, and I feel like it's just been a part of their culture since like generations. It's like they're always outside.
Agreed.
Right? I think that's the foundation to being more fit and healthy is like, you know, being able to go in nature, right? Which is, we don't really get that in Canada for fucking 8 months of the year, right? You have to like suffer just to go to the gym. Like no one does that. But here it's an active, healthy lifestyle is a normal routine for everyone.
True.
And then that's why like I rarely see chubby people or like fat people. Like and
Very
when
rare.
and when I do, I'm like, oh my God, I thought I was the only one. But yeah, no, that's one of the biggest things I've noticed for sure. And like in a way, it doesn't bother me actually, because if anything, it motivates me, and that's why I feel like since we've come to Australia, we've both been like getting way more active, way more fit. I've lost a lot of weight. You've lost weight, and I'm like
on my journey to be yoked.
100%. We're gonna get fucking yoker sauced. And that's it. So because we were talking about this walking the other day, I'm like, it's actually a good thing that it's like that, because now I'm almost forced to be like, oh, well, I don't want to fucking look like this if these people look like that. It's actually a good way to look. Like, it's actually body positivity. I'm like, that's real body positivity. I'm like, I want to fucking look like these motherfuckers because it's healthy. I can move around better. I won't have back pain, joint pain, knee pain, right? And you just feel better. Your mood's always better, and the sun is out, and it's fucking good weather.
It's unmatched, dude.
It's unmatched.
A lot of times when people back home ask me, like, what is it like here? I say, like, they've gotten a lot of things figured out.
Yeah.
The people, the culture. Like, I haven't really come across anybody, not to say they don't exist, but I haven't come across anybody who, like, doesn't like Melbourne or isn't happy to be here. Whereas sometimes back home or even in other American, people are like, like, I can't wait to leave, you know, insert name of big city in North America. Yeah. But here, though, people are like, man, I love it here. And sure, we could sit here and debate why that is. Maybe they're, you know, small-minded. Sure. Maybe they've never seen the rest of the world. They don't know any better. Fine.
Right.
Or maybe they like the city they're in because the city they're in appears to spend the money that it's breaking in from taxes on its citizens for the most part, at least from my perspective. Like the fact that transportation in the main core of the city is free, is just hop on, hop off. And it's reliable. Like it comes, it actually comes the minute it says it's going to come.
I know.
It's clean. People are respectful. It's not, there's no fucking people yelling in Spider-Man costumes like in New York subway, yelling at you, trying to sell you chocolate and fucking camping out. Like, I don't know. It's not uncomfortable. It's not unsettling. Oh, even the homeless people.
I know.
People walk by and I'm like, what the fuck? Like they left them food and cups of water and drinks and
it's because they have a bed,
shoes.
Bro.
And yeah, they have like, and it's like, there's so few homeless people here in comparison to where we're coming from. I don't know. I really I've enjoyed even when you're applying to get a working visa, holiday visa, tourist visa, whatever, you get the sense that they're not just like letting anybody into the country. They're like, hey man, who are you, bro? Like it's not, you have to, you know, dance for your supper kind of vibe. Yeah. It's just like, all right, man, who are you? Where are you coming from? Why are you coming here? Cool. You're welcome. Have a great time. Enjoy our land. Yeah. And it seems like, you know, Australians, like for the most part are pretty proud of where they come from. Like a lot of people sport the flag. The flags are flying everywhere on buildings and stuff. And
yeah, they're very proud.
It seems like, man, the general feeling I get is that people's disposition is pretty happy, or like, I don't really get a sense of like people are walking around with like a clenched mind. No, it seems a bit more like, yeah, man, like, it's, you know, the Asian culture is very big here as well that I've noticed, which I was like, I don't know why I was originally surprised, because I'm like, it's so geographically close to each other, but there's like tons and tons of Asian grocers, hot pot, Korean barbecue, Vietnamese food, like Japan, like all kinds, which is great because I feel like we got tastes of it in Toronto. Toronto's very well versed, so it's not like we had a small taste; it was a big taste. But here, people really make time to go out with their friends, dine out, eat together. They're all like, every restaurant at all times has somebody in it. True. Not just one person. Like it's full.
Oh, it's full.
Like you're like, wow. Like what the fuck? And so
Yeah.
I don't know. It's nice. You see like people being social. There's not a lot of there's not that much antisocial behavior. Even like the month that Neema was in Perth for the last month up until like the last few days.
Perth.
So I walked around to every Melbourne, particularly. I don't know about the other cities that I haven't been yet, but Melbourne has a lot of like gardens that are like botanical gardens that are like almost like parks as well, or they actually are parks. Only the first time I really saw people like quote unquote alone or solo was there, but it didn't seem like they were like, you know, sad, miserable, like, oh, I'm like by myself, I'm at a park. Like they were just like reading a book or tanning or napping or like work on the computer. But there's tons of people. They'll just like pick up a bag, put a blanket or something, and then come there and like the beaches are full, like, but not in none of these things in an uncomfortable sense. They're very, people are seem to be using the things that are available to them.
I know.
Beach, park, hikes, tons of people bike here. I went on the Yarra Trail the other day. It was like a 10-kilometer loop.
Oh, wow.
Running, sprinting, walking in groups, jogging in groups. For people out here with their, what are they called? The baby strollers?
Yeah.
Jogging with those. I'm like,
That's
holy
wild.
fuck. Like if this woman with her 3 other mom friends who have given birth in the last 2 years are on a jog with their strollers, like what am I doing?
100%.
It's very encouraging.
I know.
It's very healthy. I like that a lot about here.
That's the best. That's the best part is.
And last thing I'll say is like I was right to guess that the weather would play a part, and now I have evidence that it plays a part. It's like, dude, at some point, being in the northeast of North America or the north of North America, where it's like fucking cold a lot of the time, or the sun straight up will not come out for 10, 14 days in a row, makes a difference.
100%.
Here, it's like cloudy for like half of a day, and then it's sunny the rest of the week. But yeah, it's hot and it's unbearable sometimes, blah, blah, blah. But like I would 10 out of 10 times trade that.
Yeah.
Trade for this.
Yep.
It makes a fucking difference, man.
Oh, yeah.
When it's warm and people are like, okay, I don't need to put on all these layers and all these considerations and boots and wet this and snow fucking pants and toques. And it's like the car's not cold. And that's like, man, it makes a difference.
100%.
It fucking makes a difference. So that's,
yeah.
I'm convinced now that I will do everything I can to spend as much time as I can close to the fucking equator.
What a concept. Well, it's true because, well, one, we come from the Middle Eastern genes where we come from sand.
I'm from the desert, fam.
You're meant to be from the desert.
I need to be there.
You know what I'm saying? Like you would thrive in Dubai.
I have thrived in
Dubai. Right? And like, you know, I wish I could go to fucking Iran.
I know.
Same thing, right? Like even there, like, bro, that's how people live. It's fucking warm. It's always sunny, right? Most people,
especially in the South, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, and it's I mean, do you think it's because it's more exaggerated because we come from Canada, or you just think like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
wait, what do you mean?
Well, because we come from such a cold, less sunny place.
Oh.
You think it's more exaggerated for you because, or me too, but because we had such a massive change.
Yes.
Or, right. You think it's like you think this it should be normal like this for everyone.
Yes. Because I've been talking about this is my last year in Canada. This is my last year. I can't live here anymore. And I said that for enough time. And then I actually stopped saying it because I was like, I'm either going to do something about it or I'm going to stop complaining.
Yeah.
Mind you, interestingly, that actually made my experience in Canada a lot better for the last 2.5, 3 years where I was like, hey, dude, like either do something or shut the fuck up. And so I shut the fuck up. And then when I was like, I'm going to do something about this, and we worked towards moving out of Toronto, and we ended up in Melbourne for the last year and a bit. I had dramatically improved my experience just from that mindset shift. But then actually coming here, I realized, okay, it's everything I thought it was going to be. Obviously, I've been in hot climates before and warm climates before, so I know what I'm going into. But I was like, well, because some people are like, oh, I know some of the most miserable people I know live in LA where it's warm all year round. And I'm like, okay, could it be that over time I'll also get super comfortable and used to this? And then I just be like, doesn't matter, you know, there's that sort of idea of like, doesn't matter where you put yourself. If you are not happy within your own mindset, it doesn't matter where you are.
Right.
That is true. And I think that still trumps the environment you're in. But if you actually feel pretty okay within yourself, like I have developed for myself this sense of more calmness, neutral, okayness, more stability in my mood because of diet and sleep and working out and meditation and therapy, like all these things. And then you put yourself in a warm environment, then you're like, holy fuck, like this is awesome. Now I'm getting vitamin D naturally. I don't have to supplement it. Now I'm outside all the time. I can wear shorts. It's easier. I like athleisure clothing as it is. Like all these things start to check off the boxes for me. I'm convinced that I belong. This is where this is all leading. I'm convinced I belong in a warm.
No, you are.
Like the thought, dude.
Listen,
right now
yeah.
it's February 24th. The thought of Canada,
No chance.
going like in sleet and
Yeah.
because I know what it is.
Yeah.
It's the coldest month of the year.
Yeah.
Sleet and snow and
Oh God.
you know, house to car
Yeah.
to cold
Fuck
car
that.
to fucking black ice.
Oh
to
my God.
slush and slurries and
Oh.
when was the last time the sun came out? And I don't know. Like I
just like Larry David.
oh,
Yeah, you're a way better person than the sun, bro.
not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This guy. Yeah.
I thrive.
You're thriving
I'm a
in the sun,
sun baby.
bro. You're actually.
I think there's a word.
You're way.
I think the word is heliophile,
Heliophile.
something like that. Where
Yeah,
it's like
something
you're
like that, yeah.
you're like attracted to the sun.
Yeah, that's kind of gay.
I want to penetrate the sun. I
That's-
don't give a fuck how that
that's gay.
sounds.
Not
When
gonna
I'm
lie,
in the
bro.
sun, I'm just a different.
Steph Curry shake.
The Steph Curry, like
Yeah.
you know, I'm feeling good.
That's
I don't
kind
know
of
if
gay
people
though.
can tell on the cam, but I'm a lot more.
Man's looking
tanned.
dark
I'm a
still.
lot more tan.
No,
than I
you
got here.
literally you're actually Puerto Rican.
I'm trying
You're
to
the
hit,
true Puerto Rican person.
I'm
you
trying
are.
to hit Puerto Rican.
Yeah, Puerto Rico,
I'm
papi.
trying to look like Southern Sicilian.
That's crazy.
you know,
That's a good
Greek.
one. Greek.
I'm not trying to look like I'm from the islands or like from
100%.
Malta or something.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
a
what
good
is this tanned? Why is this fucking guy tanned all
Yeah.
year round? It's like, you know, he's from fucking whatever.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Habibi.
Don't worry about why
Yeah.
why I am. Speaking of Arabs,
Arabi.
we have some big news. We can't say. I mean, it's not we can't say. It's just that it's not confirmed. So I don't want
Right.
to get it out there. But we are aggressively pursuing a trip / our inaugural tour dates in the UAE,
Yeah. The Middle East, Habibi.
the Middle East, in Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Oh man, I can't
Coming
wait.
to you soon.
Yeah.
Sooner than you think,
Sooner
but
than you
not
think.
too soon.
Yeah,
But
but wait a bit.
but
But
it's
also,
coming.
But be and anticipatory. Is that a word?
Anticipation? Yeah.
Anticipatory.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're saying I just use that in the right way?
Not in the right way, but it is
okay.
a word.
All right.
Anticipation would be.
Yeah, let's go fuck
But yeah,
myself.
in anticipation. So,
No, man, it's gonna be good. I actually had another thing I want to bring up is what was I gonna say? Fucking in terms of fuck, what was I gonna talk about? I lost my mind. I lost when you.
Dubai, Arabs,
No, it was before that.
Melbourne, tanning.
Fucking hell, cat. I don't know.
Traveling, touring,
Yeah, maybe the food thing. I don't know.
food thing.
Shout out Paul Saladino. Anyway, yeah, I had a couple questions, I guess, to maybe wrap it up.
Well, quick fire.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love how I started off saying it's a comedy podcast and we didn't fucking say anything funny this entire time.
I said a few funny things. Remember the Lard Island thing?
Oh, yeah, Lord Island. Lord Island's pretty good.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's not really, I don't think it's going to be, it's,
With other comedians.
with the comedians, obviously, they'll
By
fucking
the way, who's
take
episode 2?
Ashley Fils-Aimé.
What's his name?
Ashley Fils-Aimé.
Fils-Aimé?
Yeah.
That sounds made up.
It's French. He's Haitian.
Now
that's
I
why.
know it's made up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's Haitian.
I'm trying to get Haitian colored.
Yeah. Good luck.
Damn, that's a sexy brown caramel.
Very nice.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's
You
great.
can tell him when he comes.
I will.
I guess, yeah, in terms of okay, my first question is,
Who is Monica Lewinsky? Yeah.
my first question is from a manager's point of view for whoever's watching this, because I feel like it's very valuable information to learn about. And anyone who wants to be in management or business side of things, what would be your best piece of advice that, well, not advice, what's the best thing you've learned being on the management side of a comedy brand since you started working as that? Or it doesn't have to be like, well, specific to comedy. I'm just saying maybe more like in the entertainment world, or like what's the best thing you've learned in general being on this side of the product?
I would probably say, I'm assuming this is probably what comedians feel. Either I feel the same as them, or it's just like an extension of what they feel. But don't underestimate the joy your work or effort brings to other people. That's a really, really, like, that's to some degree why I do it at all. It's because when people come to the shows, or you see them on the streets, or they comment on the videos, or they text us on our community. By the way, 212-380-1169. You can talk to NeemaNaz direct. That's the number, right? Yeah. 380?
212-380-1169, yeah.
I love when people come to the shows, especially in the meet and greets, obviously during the show, and they're laughing, and that your efforts of, like, whether it was the marketing, the strategy, all the helping you film auditions or self-tapes or a video, or putting together a collab, or being somehow logistically helpful in a tour coming together, a show coming together, or something. Like, there's no way to say whose input resulted in what outcome, because it's like, it's kind of like a melange of, like, we all just put everything we had in the middle of the table, and then on the other side out came a cake. And it's kind of like, I can't now look at the cake and be like, well, where's the egg? Where's the milk? Where's the butter? Where's the sugar? It's like, it's all baked in now. And so that you had something to do with this cake of, like, comedy show, coming to fruition. And so, although you can't point out what effort you know that you had something to do with it, is what I'm just trying to illustrate. And so when people come to the shows, as, like, let's use that example, you knew that you had something to do with you being a better comedian, that the show reached the audience it was supposed to reach, that it was in a good theater where you took time and care into, like, how are we going to address people when they walk in the door? Who's going to greet them? What are we going to say before we bring you up on stage? How long do people have to wait when the doors open till the show starts? What kind of music do we play? Like, all these things. And when people leave, they're like, man, this was a great, basically, they don't necessarily explicitly say this, but they say something that makes you feel like them expressing, hey man, this was a good use of my time. Or I really enjoyed this experience I had in life. Again, they may not explicitly use those words, but based on their feeling and the excitement that they have, you're like, man, this is pretty much the reason I do this, is to, like, I'm assuming if you ask a comedian, like, why do you do it? They're like, I love comedy, or I like humor, or I like observation, but I love the way that it makes people feel. I do it because I want to get a laugh. I want to bring lightness to the world, or joy to the world, and I do it through this medium. And so for me, it's the same thing. It's like, how do I create a product or a service, or in this case, a show, that people, when they consume it, we're happy to give up their time driving to the show, paying money for the show, sitting in the seats, buying the drinks, sitting, bringing their friends, vouching. There's a lot of, I talk a lot about the social credit that you can lose or gain from, like, person who's a fan of yours and saying, yo, trust me, it's funny, come with me to the show, buy a ticket, or I'll buy one for you. But still, take your time out of your day when you could be at home doing nothing, watching Netflix, eating food, fucking do whatever. And then they come there, and then that person gets the social credit of, like, yo, this was a sick show. I had a good time. He was funny, everything about it. So that's one thing I really like about being in this role, or doing what we're doing.
Yeah. Managerial role.
Sure. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great answer. Another question too I would have is, where do you see this brand going in the next 5 years?
We have to get extra stupid. I see us growing into doing more of our own productions, not just limited to shows. And when I say shows, I mean live shows. I see us doing shows like in a TV context or a movie context, like from the inside out, as in maybe producing our own movie, our own shorts, our own series of some kind. And then I also seeing us adding more NeemaNazes, like more talent, and also adding more people on the back end team of like whether it's more editors, strategy people, more people like me, and like hey man, like let's add, when we add more talent, we need more people to manage them or to be a tour manager or whatever. I see that internal business, like the Estupid group itself, growing. And selfishly, purely selfish, like I hope we travel more because, you know, my professional and personal are mixed into the same. But that's why I chose to be an entrepreneur, because I didn't want to fit into somebody else's vision. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just not how I'm wired. Like I either work for myself or I'm happy being homeless. Like the idea of working for somebody else is like taking oxygen away from me. I'll just die. So personal and professional mix, because I'm like, well, I really like traveling, and not in the fucking way that girls write on dating apps. Like, love to travel. It's like, fuck off. Everybody likes to travel, like from like a stupid surface level. Yeah. I like traveling because I meet new people. I learn about their lives. I learn about how they see the world, their culture, their food. And I love, sightseeing. I love learning about the history, like without anyone's input. I went to the history museum. I go to walk in historical places because I want to learn, like, how did this all come to be? Like, I find it interesting. So selfishly, one of the things that I hope comes of this is more travel, more sightseeing. I genuinely love the interaction of new or different or the same people in their hometown, their home city, their home country, in their culture where they're from, and sort of absorbing and taking that in.
Yeah, that's great. This is what I like about this podcast, is we can get fucking deep. We can talk about whatever.
Get the water rings, fam.
You know, it's a good opportunity to just express yourself.
Yep.
I love it. I guess the last question I have too is, I know we didn't talk about this a lot, but what would you say is the most attractive thing that a guy could do to, you know, attract a woman?
Went really left turn there, right? Tell the truth. I think that's the most attractive trait. I don't know if it's the most, but it's certainly on atop the mountain of hierarchies in terms of the most attractive thing that a person can do is tell the truth. Whether that's be authentic in what you think about the world, like say what you think and think what you say. Personally, after having lied so much in my life, I value when somebody tells me. So, like, inherently why lying is hurtful or diminishes trust is because when people expect honest communication and you independently decide how much of reality's context another person is privileged to hear, is basically, as far as I know and have experienced, the most selfish thing someone can do. And so when you lie, you withhold parts of reality that the other person is expecting to know, a piece of information that helps them make sense of the picture in front of them or the reality in front of them. I find it as a big a letdown as I can think of. And so it's really attractive to me when somebody I think it's attractive when people tell me the truth. It's probably the most attractive thing, I think. And so purely my own opinion is that what I could do outward, or I think anybody could do outwardly, is tell the truth about your intentions, about what you're thinking, about perspectives you have with regards to how this conflict went or whatever. I just think that life, knowing that it's impermanent and it's fleeting, and there's this beautiful thing that we as humans created in the sense of language, which is like a technology of kind. To withhold words that you could put to the feelings you have inside your body for another person to understand you is just such a waste of your humanness, in my opinion. It's like you have all these words that you could try to put into context for somebody to get you, sort of thing. And so when people lie, I just think that you're cheating like life in a way.
Damn.
So I equally think that that's the most attractive thing is when people are authentic or to tell the truth.
Damn. That's the most fucking thorough answer I've ever heard in my entire life.
That's what I do.
I like that. I like that. They didn't believe in us.
Guess who did?
God did. That's great, man. See, that's why I like asking those questions because I know you're gonna go deep into it too. That's what we want. We want fucking.
I'm out here, fam.
You want to express it to as deep of a length as possible because it provides value too.
Value.
So yeah, I guess I don't know. It's my first time doing this fucking podcast. Whoever's watching this, appreciate you watching. Just trying to go with the flow, see what works, see what doesn't. If you have any suggestions or feedback on the podcast, if you've listened this far, if you made it this far, we're always welcome to it. I don't know. We're just trying shit out. This is all a part of the process and the lifestyle as a comedian and an entrepreneur and a businessman, right? We're just trying to fucking make things work and provide as much value as possible for the viewers, for the fans. Because I genuinely enjoy it. You know, we enjoy it. We enjoy what we're doing, and we just want to fucking make it, man. And so this is another great idea we had is to obviously I want to do a podcast, and this is the first one.
Do a podcast again. To be fair,
what do you mean?
You originally had one years ago.
Yeah, I mean, my own show. I guess this is my own show now. It's just branded differently. We obviously talked about it being like a comedy podcast, and like I don't want to stick to just comedy, to be honest. Now that we've just obviously talked through this whole episode, like it'll have comedy elements, obviously, because it's me. But sometimes, man, I'm fucking more introspective too. It's like I get serious. I'm more serious than people think, to be honest. Right? People meet me, I get this compliment all the time. I don't want to make it about me, but like you know, whenever I meet people in real life that know me for my content online, every time I talk to them for an extended period of time, at some point they say, "Oh man, like you know, you're more chill, or you're more serious than I thought, or yo, you're actually like genuinely like a human." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, the fuck?
I'm not just a fucking killer.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. Come on." So that's and that's what I go for, honestly, because I genuinely am that way, and so that's why I want to do this podcast again, and I'm obviously it'll be mostly funny, you know, going forward. You know, obviously he's not a comedian, but he's also funny himself. But you know,
some respect on my name.
Yeah. Generally, though, you know, for the most part, it'll be have comedians as guests. My favorite comedians will come on, and eventually maybe I'll expand, get some actors or people who I think are funny who aren't like stand-up comedians. Blah blah blah. The list goes on, and that's it. So yeah, I appreciate everyone who has watched or listened. If you're listening to this, thank you so much. You can find all my stuff at NeemaNaz.com. Obviously, if you follow me on Instagram and TikTok already and you're already there, then thank you. Tell all your friends. And yeah, we're in Melbourne.
Join the Estupid Club.
Join the Estupid Club. You know, join the email list for any updates to future shows that we got going on in your city. We will be going on tour in the new year in 2025. So that's it, man. I'm preparing my stand-up tour for then, this whole year in Melbourne, Australia. And yeah, so I hope all you guys come out to those shows. It's going to be really fucking fun. We're going to do a lot of good promo, good trailers, and just good marketing to promote the tour coming up soon. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah.
And thanks for watching and listening. My name is NeemaNaz. This has been... Omid Nazeri. Yeah. And
Stupid group.
Yeah, follow you want to say any last words for the fucking viewers?
Yes. I'll finish it by saying I feel like because I watch so many podcasts, a lot of people will be like, yo, like follow me here, and like you actually don't need to follow me. I mean you can. Yeah. But I would say
block you.
You know, you can read actually one of the Instagram posts that I made regarding my brother. On Instagram, where I go into like, you know, what our relationship means and like to me, and how hard of a worker he is, and how much he believes in himself, which is like very what's the word, like it's very like it
inspiring.
It's inspiring, and it's very it makes you thirsty for more of that kind of energy. Yeah. I don't know the exact I forget the word, but contagious. It's very contagious, and you know, I think that a large part of what he does is try to purely just bring joy and laughter and lightness to the people and to the world. And in return, while we don't ask for anything in the times in between tours, because that's really the only place we can basically monetize our audience.
Yeah.
But only after we've like figured out a way to live on a budget or humbly and not ask people to like buy stuff or give us stuff or support. And not that there's anything wrong with those. We just try to do the way that we think is right, is to, we don't want to ask for anything in return until we've done a good enough job. We're like, all right, man, now the product, this show, this comedy set, this tour is ready to be like, all right, like this is how we earn an income. Like we don't have every 2 weeks. We have no unemployment department. Like we have no savings. We have nothing. Don't feel bad for us. This is a life that we chose. I'm just saying,
fucking broke.
In next year, if you are interested in supporting us in any way, supporting my brother, come to one of the shows. Yep. It's how we get to express what we've been working so hard on. And that's when we actually own, that's really the only time we feel comfortable saying, yes, like, give us your money. Because it's going towards us just continuing what it is we're doing. Yeah. It's never, and it's never to buy stuff or make us, like, we already did that. So exactly. This is purely just to keep the business going so that we can do the thing that hopefully you are all enjoying. So I just wanted to put that in my own words for the first and maybe the only opportunity I get to do that. So that's it. Those are my final words. Really cool that we're doing this show. Congrats on the launch of the show. I'm honored to be episode 1. I'll forever be a part of that story of estupid fucking Neema.
Come on. Estupid. Yeah, man. Estupid Neema. I don't know. I think it's a good name, and don't be a stupid. Be a smart. Cool. Yeah, that's all, man. So thank you guys for enjoying it, and we'll see you on the next episode of Estupid Neema.
We out.
Peace.